JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 12th of May 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, which you can always kind of subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos here, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So let me just quickly, there we go. So on this one right here. So yep guys, so I believe you can find something useful here, so feel free to check us out here on jfdbank.com. Now then, jumping into quickly into this figure, let's update and see what's happening. This is the number from this morning. Most likely it has risen. However, let's see by how much. So let's quickly have a look at this. Okay, it's taking a little bit of a while. So okay, so yes, it has increased a little bit, so but still kind of okay. But as we can see, this is where it's quite interesting that Russia managed to overcome the well, Spain and the United Kingdom. So by the amount of infections. So this is quite interesting. A bit of a change of a bit of a change in the table here. Now, if we look at Russia, it only has around 2,116 deaths. Well, again, roughly, that's the probably rough figure. But yep, in terms of infections, it kind of jumped into second place very quickly. So we'll continue monitoring the situation, of course. I mean, the total amount of deaths still, the leaderboard is US and UK. But in terms of infections, this is quite interesting. So, okay, so now then, let's jump into the charts. The first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE 100. Still kind of the same idea remains, the one that I've mentioned this morning. Not much has changed, to be honest, and for now, we will keep an eye on this one. Of course, as long as it stays above this upside support line, yes, there is a possibility for this one to continue drifting further north. However, to get a little bit more excited about higher levels, what we would like to see here is a nice good push above the 6,152 territory here, which is the highest point of April. So of course, like I said, on one hand we will remain positive here, and we'll continue targeting higher levels. However, to get comfortable with higher levels, we would like to see a push above the 6,152 territory. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. So it could be quite interesting here. So now then, in terms of the S&P 500, now looking at this picture here, you can see that the index yesterday closed slightly in the positive territory, so not much. Looking at the cash index right now, we can see that the price is currently balancing at around 2,940 zone, so basically just slightly above where it closed yesterday. However, still below this 2,955 territory that I kept talking about. This is the highest point of April, and in a way, as you can see, it's kind of forming of a potential kind of ascending triangle here. However, before we could consider higher levels, we would need to see a nice good push above this barrier here, the 2,955 territory. Still basically the same idea remains in play, the one that I've mentioned yesterday in my traders tea time, so keep your eyes on this, guys. And if we do get a break of this upside support line, this short-term upside support line, then, well, I mean, we could consider maybe slightly lower areas, especially if it falls below this little target here. And let me just quickly put this highlighted area right here. So there we go. So this is the 2,798 territory, which is the low of last week. So if we get a drop below this, then yep, deeper extensions to the downside could be possible, guys. So be very careful here. Brent oil, quick update here. Not much is happening, and to be honest, it's kind of stuck here. We'll continue monitoring the situation, but if we jump into a 4-hour chart, this little pattern here, you can see that it seems that the commodity is coiling up a little bit here. So basically it's forming of a possible symmetrical triangle here like this. So we will keep an eye on this one just in case. So we want to see which way this is going to break out to. If it pops higher and pushes above the highest point of, or should I say, yeah, the highest point of last week, which is around the 32.21 zone, then there is a possibility for this one to drift further north. However, as I mentioned previously, we would prefer to see, well, we will be very careful with the upside because, again, in the short run, we could see a further push north. However, the upside may get limited near this downside line taken from the high of the 8th of January. So be very careful, guys. And in terms of the downside, for us to get comfortable with lower levels, we would like to see it drop somewhere below the 27.18 territory here, and then we'll take it from there. Ripple is retracing a little bit today. So yesterday the crypto failed to reach the low of Sunday, and today we're seeing a bit of positivity here. However, it still remains below all of its EMAs here on the daily chart. So that's why, guys, be very careful for now. Yes, we will continue monitoring this very carefully, because if by any chance this pushes back above this 0.2052 territory, then maybe we could maybe aim for slightly higher levels. However, for now it is where it is. If this barrier here, the 0.2052 territory, acts as a good area of resistance, then we could see something like this, where, like with this arrow I've shown here, where another round of selling could be possible. Initially, we'll of course target this level, the 0.1760, which acted as a fantastic area of support recently here. So, but if that of course gets broken, then deeper extensions to the downside could be possible. But again, for now, we cannot really do much. We can continue just observe the price action. Well, we need to wait for a clear breakthrough one of the levels. But of course, the main thing that how you could play around with this one right now is keep your eyes on this little level here, the 0.2052 territory, and if we get a hold up somewhere around here, then yep, another round of selling could be possible. USDCHF. So we did get the US inflation figures, and let me just double check those quickly. So yep, those came out a little bit on the lower side. So well, actually not even maybe a little bit, it came out well, yeah, actually a little bit, because a little bit from the forecast, I would say, because the core CPI month-on-month came out at minus 0.4%, where the expectation was at minus 0.2. So yep, it beat the estimate by almost twice. Well, not by but well, by twice basically. So it beat not almost, but by twice exactly. So and of course the headline inflation rate, the month-on-month came out as expected, the minus 0.8. However, the year-on-year figure disappointed, and it came out below the forecast of 0.4%, so it came out at plus 0.3%. So yeah, not very good, of course. And we're seeing this reaction here in USDCHF. It is dropping lower, and this morning we were kind of hanging around here somewhere, and it managed to push higher initially, but failed to kind of move towards its 200 EMA here on the daily chart. However, what we're going to do here is we're going to, as I've mentioned this morning, we're going to keep an eye on the 21-day EMA, and we'll see how it performs around there, because if it fails to stay below this, then maybe the upside could be back on the table. However, if we stay below this 21-day EMA, then yep, there's a good chance for this one maybe to drift a little bit further south, maybe towards the lower bound of the range here. So for now, guys, again, it's a very difficult one. It's very close here, so probably let's keep an eye on this one. But again, if it stays here below this 21-day EMA, and maybe even if, let's say, if it stays below the low of last week, the low of Friday, which is around the 0.9681 zone, then we could consider deeper extensions, like I said, or wouldn't probably use the word deeper extensions, because here we will consider the downside, but only within the range. So, and we'll aim for this this level right here, which is around the 0.9588 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. US dollar against the Turkish lira. So finally, we're breaking this psychological 7 level, and this is what I talked about this morning. What I was saying that if we could. First of all, let's put it this way. I was saying that we may see a break, but the most important thing is to keep an eye on today and how this day is going to close, because, well, to be honest, I mean, let's be very careful here. Like I said, the Turkish economy is not really feeling very well right now. However, let's see if the Turkish government and the Central Bank of Turkey manage to find maybe some sort of a solution. It could be a temporary one, so we could see this one right now drifting lower, especially if it stays below the psychological 7 mark. Then yes, we will consider deeper extensions to the downside here, deeper correction, I would say. So 6.84 zone, roughly around there, could be a nice target. Just to show you what that level was in the past. That's the high of the August 30th. So keep your eyes on this one, of 2018, of course, because that's this is the spike we had here in 2018. This is that lira crisis we had then. So yep, we could see this one drifting back down towards that level here. But if this is not going to be enough for the sellers, then yep, a further decline is possible. But again, for now, guys, the main thing that you need to keep an eye on is, of course, the psychological 7 territory, because if we see a close below this, or even if we see a close below the 21-day EMA, now this is, yep, like I said, this is where it could become quite interesting for the sellers. If we suddenly push back above this upside support line, well, be very careful. The sellers should remain careful here, because the upside could probably resume. US dollar against the Russian ruble. I've mentioned this one a couple of days ago, well, actually yesterday, to be honest. And I was mentioning this triangle, this descending triangle here, for you to keep an eye on, because if this gets broken, if the lower side of this one gets broken, of course, this is going to be like according to the books. So basically, descending triangles tend to break to the downside. However, of course, we have seen this happening several times in the opposite direction. So that's why we will wait for a confirmation break first, and then we will consider a further directional move. So for now, basically, long story short, for now we will probably remain a little bit on the neutral side, because again, I do understand like I said, if we are below this downside line, it's kind of from around mid-March, it is kind of drifting lower. However, as you can see, this level here, the 72.63 territory, continues to kind of provide good area of support. So kind of continues to provide good support in general. So basically that's why we would like to see a nice good break here below this level, and ideally we would prefer to see a daily close below this territory, and then we could consider deeper extensions to the downside. So yep, this is where I can use the words deeper extensions to the downside. So yep guys, be very careful here. Like I said, also this break of course would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. Now then, NZDCAD. Now I've talked about this one yesterday, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this one, because especially tonight, or should I say during the Asian morning on Wednesday, because we do have the RBNZ interest rate decision, the monetary policy statement, so it could be quite exciting. And when I was covering this one yesterday, I was telling you that that we may see this one kind of moving sideways here inside this little kind of pattern. So it's basically stuck above this short-term upside support line, as you can see, taken from the low of the 3rd of April, and it's also stuck below this downside line taken from the high, the highest point of March 2019. So well, so for now we're keeping a close eye, and on this one we'll want to see which of the lines is going to get broken, and the break might come during the interest rate announcements. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Could be quite interesting. Also keep your eyes on other NZD pairs as well. So yep, those might give us some good moves, but again, for now, like I said, we are keeping a close eye on this one. From the technical side, what I was mentioning yesterday was that if we get a drop below the 0.8461 territory, this kind of increases the chances of a potential further slide lower here. But if we get a push above this key area of resistance around the 0.8575, 76 zone, then yes, of course, automatically it places the rate above the downside resistance line, and then higher levels could be met. And our next target here could be this high, this peak of March, and that's roughly around the 0.8738 zone. So keep your eyes on this one. GBPCAD, quick update here. I've talked about this one this morning, and to be honest, not much has changed. It's still the same idea. We need to, because as you can see, the pair is stuck in the range overall here. This range has been running from around the beginning of April, but we need to see a clear breakthrough, either the lower side, which where the pair is currently closer to which the pair is currently closer to, this lower side of the range near the 1.7245 zone. A nice good drop, a nice good daily close below this area could do the trick for more sellers. So yeah, but again, it keeps on flirting with this area, it keeps on overshooting it, but cannot really close below it. So for now, like I said, we're keeping an eye on this one. We need to see a nice daily close below this, and then we could aim for lower levels. If by any chance this pushes higher and breaks above the 1.7375 zone here, and also climbs above the 21-day EMA here on the daily chart, then maybe there could be a possibility for this one to push a little bit higher here, and then we will target this level here, the 1.75 territory, a break of which could open the door towards the upper side, upper bound of the range here. So that's why, guys, for now, probably the idea is to remain cautious. I do understand there's a lot of markets which are kind of moving sideways right now, so it's really difficult at this time. But again, let's wait for the confirmation, and then we could react to it. But again, for now, it is closer to the lower side of the range, so in a way it has a good chance maybe to drift lower. However, we need that confirmation break first. GBPEUR, again, range, so it's drifting sideways here, it's kind of moving sideways, and it's roughly stuck between these two levels, the 1.1305 on the downside and the 1.1515 on the upside. So as you can see, it did try to push higher, but this 100 EMA together with the 200 EMA on the daily chart continue to provide a decent resistance. Now you probably cannot see the 200 EMA shown as the black line because the green one is overshadowing that one, but they're both coinciding. So in a way, this is a very strong area of resistance. need to move the arrows a little bit to the right because we have already shifted a little bit here. So, but as you can see now, the rate is drifting lower. It's getting closer to the lower side of this range. Most likely we will reach that area. Most likely we will give it a test of the 1.1305. However, the big question here is, will it be able to break it? If it's going to happen something like we had here on the 21st of April where we had an overshoot, then, well, I mean, be very careful, guys. Be very careful. I mean, wait for a daily close, because again, for now it's really kind of difficult, I would say, with this one. EURJPY, this one is pushing nicely to the upside and managed to climb back above this 21-day EMA. So of course, don't get me wrong, we don't want the same scenario as we had here in the end of April and the beginning of May, where yes, it also climbed above the 21-day EMA but kind of found resistance near the 117.77 zone and then reversed back down. So again, we'll be very careful for now, and that's why we're probably going to take a very conservative approach here, and we'll wait for a push above this this current highest point of May near the 117.77 zone, and then we could aim for maybe slightly higher levels. For now, again, it's, yes, it is pushing higher, don't get me wrong, but we don't want to have the same scenario as we had here, so that's why we're gonna wait for this one right now. And in terms of even the downside, we will probably start looking at lower levels somewhere around here, maybe even around here, somewhere around 115.40 zone, to be honest. That's the lowest point of April, and this one right here. And if we get a drop below this, then yes, we will aim for the downside again. Until then, to be honest, we will probably remain neutral and wait for a confirmation breakthrough one of these levels, because again, we don't want to get caught up here, and yeah, we rather be safe than sorry. Euro dollar, finally, so this one's pushing higher. This morning I talked about this one, and what I was saying, to keep an eye on this upside support line on the lower side of the range as well. And yep, keep your eyes on the Friday's high, which is around the 1.0875 territory. So basically we did get an overshoot, but as you can see now, the bears are trying to keep the rate below it. So what I've mentioned this morning, basically, that we need to see a nice good break above this, a nice good break, and ideally a close of a daily candle above this territory in order to aim for slightly higher levels, but only within the range, because don't forget that although yes, we are trading above this upside support line taken from the low of the 23rd of March, we're still also trading within the range. So basically this could travel higher. This could end up testing the upper bound of the range here, and then if it holds again, we could see a drift back down, where it will be quite interesting to see if this upside line can hold again. So again, for now, guys, that's the kind of game plan. From the very short-term perspective, yes, we are leaning a little bit more to the upside. We are keeping a close eye on this 1.0875-76 zone. If we get a nice daily close above it, then yes, we will aim for the upper bound of the range near the 1.0990. But if it fails to do so, then well, we'll remain cautious around here, because if it's going to stay below this 1.0875 territory, then well, like I said, this is going to be our little kind of neutral zone. So okay, guys, I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate all your likes, guys, all your views and comments, and I hope you stay safe, guys. I hope you you know, stay safe both market-wise and health-wise, because it is a difficult time right now. So yeah, be very careful. If you want to join my video tomorrow, as always, my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. But yeah, for now, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.